to FadeFlix TV. Today we're going to be doing a great haircut method. What a great haircut method is, it's a method that is broken up into 3 different tiers. One is control, the other is precision, and then finally there's speed. What we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be doing our control method, where we're going to be compartmentalizing the haircut so that we can keep control of it. One of the main things that happens when you're fading, whether you're experienced or whether you're a student, is you get lost in the fade. Sometimes you get lost in what you're supposed to do next. So what we're going to do here is we're going to break the haircut up in certain sections, making lines and keeping those lines in the haircut so that we can work in each section, keeping control of the haircut, and our final result is going to be a great fade. I want to thank FadeFlix TV for having me, and also thank Matt for coming through and being my model. So we're going to get started. What I'm going to start with is by breaking the haircut up. I'm going to use my Andy Super ZRs, one of my favorite clippers. I'm going to start out with the 1.5. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take the 1.5 blade, and I'm going to start here, and I'm going to make a line in the section right around the parietal ridge. I'm going to separate, that's going to be my first section that I'm going to separate. Basically what we're going to be doing, we're kind of going to do like a skip blade technique. So we're going to come right in. The size of the sections are going to depend upon how many blades you actually need to lay on the haircut. On this particular side, we're going to work on this side first. This particular side, we're going to do our control method, but we're going to fade it going down. On the other side, we're going to fade it going up. So I'm going to come in with my 1.5. Okay? As you can see, I've made myself a nice section here, and I've also made a line atop it. What's important when you do this method is to make sure that the section is clear. If there's any weight in this area, if there's any weight in your section, then it's going to come off at the end of the haircut. So you want to make sure that that area is clear. Okay? So I've laid my 1.5 with my detachable clipper. Generally we would go to a 1/8. A 1/8 is right below a 1.5. So that's the next blade down from the 1.5 that we'll be using. But we're going to skip this blade. Okay? We're going to skip this blade. We're going to save this for later on. And we're going to actually just go to our number 1. Okay? We're going to actually use our number 1. What I'm going to do with the number 1 is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to clear a section, but I'm also going to leave a line. Okay? Right below it. A thin line. It looks kind of awkward at first, but to be honest with you, once you lay all the blades down and set the haircut up, you're really done. All you have to do at that point is just take them out. So we're going to come for our 1, and I'm going to take my 1 off, and I'm going to pick up my OA. My OA guard is in between the 1 and also in between maybe like a 000 or 0. And we're going to drop this in right here. Same technique, thin line. As you can see, 3 different sections and really 3 different lines. Our line on the parietal ridge, our line right here in the middle, and our line right here at the bottom. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to drop in what I call a sub-level. And the reason for the sub-level is because all of this right here is going to be skin. This area here is going to be our skin area. Generally what you have a hard time doing is once you ball that out, once you use your clipper and you ball that out, you end up having a line here that sometimes is a little difficult to get out. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to drop in a sub-level, so when we do zero this out, it's just going to come right into place. And if you do it correctly, then you can actually just take your balding blade and just go straight up and take that line out, no fuss. It's very simple. Now what I'm going to do to do that though, I'm going to go ahead and put my supers down, and I'm going to pick up my masters. The blade that I like to use on the masters, I like to use the fade blade. It's all about preference. You can use the fade blade, or you can use the regular master blade. Me personally, this one gives a perfect transition from skin into the haircut, so I prefer to use this one. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in right above the section that I just made, and I'm going to drop in my subsection. Right here. Just a small subsection. And all I'm trying to do is put an area in there where I'm dividing my skin into my haircut. That's it. That's all I want to do. So I'm going to come here and drop that sub-level in. You can see, well, let me say this. A lot of people, when they fade, I see them fade from bottom to top. They're immediately going here with their shaver or with their trimmer and take it off and make this real nice ball line. But then generally after that, that's where the problem comes in. It's like, okay, you know what, I have this great line, but what do I do after that? So in this technique, what we try to do is, we're the ones who are going to make the lines. Our lines are the ones that are going to help us to keep control, because we're going to take out our lines. We're not going to worry about lines that are made in the process and we don't know how to get them out. So this particular technique now, it's already set up. Virtually this is done in my estimation. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually fade from top to bottom. Now I went inside this area here with a 1.5. So of course the area up top is my 2 area. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 2. I'm going to put my 2 on. And I'm going to open it up. Now I know that when I place my 2 open, and what I mean by open is the lever here. If you push it all the way up, that's closed. If you push it down, now it's open to its fullest extent. That's what I mean by open. Now I know when I put that blade on this area that it's not going to take that line out. That line is not going to be removed. But what's important is cutting the bulk back so that you don't make a new line. What I mean by cutting the bulk back is if I actually cut this, if I actually close this all the way, and let's just say for sake of argument, this area was longer than a 2, this area was a 4, or this area was a 5, and I just went in here with this closed, then I could be making another line inside my fade, which could become problematic. So what I want to do is always be cautious. You can always take the hair off. You can't put it back on. So I'm going to come in here with the 2 open, just in this area. Now, and for this particular haircut, because it's going to be a fro hawk, I can kind of come in at an angle. But generally what you would want to do is you would actually want to come out. You don't want to cut into the haircut. If this was a comb over or some other type of haircut, you want to kind of come up, come in, and come out really quickly. But for the sake of this haircut, it's going to be a fro hawk anyway, which I need this area to be cut down. So now I have the luxury of actually going in, cutting the bulk back, and actually even saving myself time, because this here I don't even have to mess with my shears, and I can pick my shears up off right in this area right here. So I'm going to come in, and make sure that there is no bulk left in that section. Close it about halfway. Again. One thing I always say when I'm teaching this method is sometimes we get what's called tunnel vision and we see something that we don't like. And for this method you can't do that. For this method, you have to do it. What I always say is trust the process. Trust me, it's going to come out the way that you want it, but you just have to trust that it's going to work. So now I'm going to close it and come in and work on that line. Another great thing about this too, you can use this system with whichever clipper that you prefer. And sometimes you'll have your clippers set in a way that they'll just pick up perfectly off the next one. Sometimes that's not the case. You ever come into a situation where you're cutting, it's like, oh my God, I've done all that I could possibly do, and it's still not coming out the way that I want it to. Now this is fine for me, but I still see just a little tad bit of weight right here. So the good thing about it, by compartmentalizing the haircut, is I know exactly what tool I have to use to take that away. I know exactly what tool I have to use or what tools I can use because I divide the areas up. I know that I'm not going to put a 1 in this area because this is my 2 area. So I'm going to actually use a comb, flip over a comb, and actually work on that 1 little area. So I'm going to come in here with my comb, take my guard off, and I'm just going to come in here just like that, just that little bit of bulk, kind of messing with my fade a little bit, and take that out. One thing that you cannot do, one thing that is a must, do not move into another level until the previous level is clear. Once that level is clear, then you move on. If you move on without clearing the level, then at the end of it, you're going to see all kinds of mistakes and kinds of weight in the haircut. And yes, you can spend time to get it out because you've dissected the haircut in a way that you know what you have to put on it to fix it, but it's a waste of time. So we're going to come in here and remove this, just that little bit of weight right there. And that's it. So now that we have that area cleared, I like using a detachable, adjustable method. I like setting it up with the detachable clippers and then coming through and taking the lines out with the adjustable. Because with the adjustable, I have the ability to continually move the blade to a different length. It kind of gives me extra tools to work with. Now, do you have to use a detachable to do this? Do you have to use a detachable to make this system work? No, you don't. You can actually use adjustable as well. You just use the same technique and the adjustables will work. So actually what I'm going to come in here with, this was a 1 that I came in here with. So I'm going to take actually my 1 guard. I'm going to put my 1 guard on. And once again, what am I going to do? I'm going to open it. I know that it's not going to take the line out, but I'm going to stay with the same system. I'm going to trust the process, and I'm going to come in here and soften this line. Continuing to make sure that there's no bulk that would be problematic at the end. Now, honestly, I can just close this all the way and take that line out, but for the sake of showing you, we're just going to continue to stay with the same process. I'm going to put the blade in the middle, cut some of the bulk back, and then close it all the way and swing it. Now, here's the thing that is important for you to know, is you need to know your tools. You need to know what your tools do. And if you know that, then you have the ability to problem solve whatever comes up. Here I've taken my number 1 and I've softened that line out as much as I possibly can. But I'm going to now switch to my 0 guard. Now I cannot put this 0 guard in here closed because it's going to cut into my fade. But if I take this 0 guard and I open it up, the 0 guard open
is almost equivalent to the one guard closed. So I'm going to come in here with this 0 guard open and just soften that just a little bit. Now, once I hear it's cutting hair, now I know it's working. And it wasn't until I put it about halfway that it started doing that. But I started with it open because I always want to make sure that I don't cut into the fade. You can kind of see the fade starting to take shape now. Once you get those first 2 lines knocked out, it really becomes easier and easier because all you're going to do with the next one is just do the same process over and over again. And that's why I simply call it a great haircut method. People have asked me that before, like, why do you call it a great haircut method? Because, I'm not saying that it's the best. I think that'd be a little arrogant. I think it's pretty great. When I've talked to individuals that I've actually taught this system to, they've actually become better. I also instruct at Hollywood Institute in West Palm Beach, so that was kind of like my test round for this method. I gave it to my students and told them, I said, listen, I want to show you something. It's going to make it a little bit easier for you. Just trust it. And I had students that have never picked up a clipper before and used this method and was able to finish pretty good fade. So I call it success. Now as I come in here, this is where I use my adjustable close. I use my Andy's Master close. So I'm actually going to come up here and swing it in the middle and take that line out. But let me go back to this 0. Let's go ahead and stay with the same thing. I'm going to come with the 0 and I'm going to close it. And we're just going to swing on this line and take this line out. Now, if you want to, depending on where you want to place the fade, it all depends on where you start and how wide you make your sections. So, regardless of if you want to make it a high fade, if you want to make it a medium fade, if you want to make it a low fade, it's all in where you place the sections and how many sections you place to determine where the cut is. So now we've taken our 0 close and we've simply just taken that line completely out. Now we're going to come in here and take our guard off. As you can see, all we've done is just gone down. We've gone down from our 2, we've gone from our 1 to our 0, and now no guard at all. Come in here, of course, with it open. Swing on that line to soften it. And then by the time I put it in the middle, that line should be gone. Now, if you notice something, I'm not just I see people when they cut sometimes, they just cut going straight up. And you might find some difficulty because I'm cutting, but it's not doing what I need to do. Well, the way that you need to fade is you actually need to get underneath the hair. So however it's laying or coming out of the follicle, that's what you need to do. So if it's coming from the side, then you need to get against that. Constant movement against your blade. If you notice, only when I'm flat am I using the whole blade, but other than that, I'll use the ends of my blade as well because I have to get in there and switch the angle to make the fade successful. I'm closing it just a little bit more. And that's taking it all out. Now we can really see it's taking form now. I'm actually going to leave that bottom part there just for a little bit. I like to leave parameters, and by you leaving parameters there, it kind of helps you see things another way. Because right now I'm going to focus on this edge, this lineup, and then I'll take this off at the end. Once you take the hair off at the end, virtually you should just be done. It should be finished. And there we have it. I'm also big on utilizing the tools that you have while you have them in your hand, versus continually putting a clipper down, picking up another clipper, picking this trimmer up, picking up that trimmer, putting it down. Whatever tool that you have in your hand at that time, utilize it for whatever it is that you can utilize it for. So what I'm going to come and do here is I'm just going to soften them up in the front here a little bit, because that hair is kind of competing with where I want to tape them up at. So I'm just going to come in here and just soften up a little bit. Just take those little hairs off. And that's it. Now generally, everyone knows that when you're cutting, there's different aspects of the haircut. You have the actual cut, and then you also have the finish. The great thing about this system is because you dissected it or compartmentalized it or sectioned it, you now, like I said before, have the ability to go back in and say, hey, listen, there's a little bit of something here that I want to remove. If you did not do that, then you're like, oh, what do I put here? What do I put there? But I know in this area, this is going to be a 1.5 and a 2 area. Whatever I have to put here, this is going to be a 1.5 area. And what I have to put down here is going to be maybe a little bit of a 1/2 or 0 area. So it's giving me control. And that's what it's all about. The great thing about it as well, what comes with that control is confidence. Confidence is big, because if you give off a type of persona that you do not have the confidence to do the haircut, clients can feel that. I call it touch. And sometimes people laugh because they say, well, that sounds kind of funny because you say that. I said, well, you need to make sure how you touch them. If you touch them in a way that's very timid, that can become irritating after a while. Also, what it does is it sends a signal or a sign to your client that maybe this person isn't experienced as they should be, or as I think that they should be. So it's important to have the confidence, and that's exactly what this method ends up giving you. Because you've sectioned it off and set it up in a way where it makes it easy for you to cut it, now your confidence is like, you know what, I can do this. And that transfers over to your client. I'm going to step over on this side because I'm actually going to tape him from here to here. Okay? I'm going to turn his head a little bit, and I'm going to come in, making sure that as I come into the corner that I'm tipping up. Now, you don't want to push them back, but if you try to go straight, that's when you're going to see your line take a dip. It's going to be crooked. You have to kind of tip up in order to get that straight line. And let me show you something else. Right here, if you notice the angle I'm going to take this angle. I'll do it with my left hand. I'm going to take this angle here. You can see that. Take this angle here, where I'm coming back at this angle. If you come into this haircut and you just go straight down like that, in the front of the haircut, you're going to get the tape looking like this. So in order for you to have the appropriate tape, you have to kind of take your top blade, the top part of your blade, and come back. Almost in like a backwards L. So now I have the ability to. What I like to do with Matt is I kind of like to leave it a little bit long, and then I'm going to come in here and kind of give a little bit of a curve so that it can kind of make that skin fade pop. Come on this side, maybe you guys can see that. There we go. going to show you something too as well. Although we're going to take this off, just because we're here, for you new barbers out there that have a little bit of a difficulty making the curve, the easiest way to do that is to come in. I'm going to cut the clippers off because I don't want to actually do that. Is to make a line here. You see the angle that I'm at? You're going to make a line here, okay? And then you're going to come down here, straight, and hold that line just like that. And then what you'll do is you'll connect this point to that point. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it because we're going to take this off anyway. Let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and come here and make a line here, since all that's coming off anyway. All right? And I'm going to come over here and make a line here. Now with that line made and this line made, all you do is just take the tip of your clipper and come up and curve in. And once you curve in, you can just simply come in here and just take all that off. Okay? Practice that for your curves, because sometimes it's so difficult to make it, and what it ends up happening, you're so concentrated on making the curve that before you know it, your curve's back here. And now you're wondering, oh my God, what am I going to do? I just pushed them all the way back. Okay. I'm going to step over, and I'm just going to swing all this out. There's two different ways that you can do this. Okay. I'm going to show you in the forefront what you can do, and I'll show you here what you can do. Okay. If you're not confident that you can swing this out, if you're not confident that you can, you're not going to leave another line, then what you'll simply do is you'll come here, and you'll just leave a little piece there. Everything below it is going to be skin. I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and finish this method on this side, and on the other side I'll show you exactly how you just swing out. So you'll come here and leave that there. The great thing about leaving these lines in the haircut, the great thing about those lines that we had here, is it was telling us when we were in this area, in our half area, do not come near my 2 area with the half. Do not come near my 2 area with the 1. Those lines are there specifically as borders to keep you away from swinging into it. So now I've cleared that off. And I'll leave that there sometimes too, because of the shaver. Most of us use a shaver that we come in and we shave that line off. If this line wasn't here, I have the possibility of actually shaving, using the shaver into my 1 area, into my half area, and maybe possibly into my 1 area, causing another line in my fade, and then all of a sudden now I'm worried because, once again, how do I get it out? So by this line being here, it's, once again, giving me control and telling me, hey, listen, this is the only area that I'm going to shave. Now, what I'm going to use, I've had several people ask me, someone asked me this today. I had an opportunity to go to a barber battle today and compete, network, which is always good. And it never fails when I use this, everyone always asks me what am I using. So what I'm using is Remington shave powder. Very simple. Now, for some reason, we're unable to find this in the store right now. So the only thing that we could possibly do right now is order it online, but trust me, it works. So you're just going to take a little bit, it comes in a little ball, push up at the bottom, and you're just going to take a little bit of it and apply. And what that's going to do is going to put a coat over the skin. It's also going to help that hair come off a lot easier, and also help with the irritation. Sometimes when you're sitting there and you're cutting hair, and then all of a sudden, you shave their head, a couple of days later, the client's bumping up, or they have some type of irritation. So it's going to help lessen that. So we're going to come in, Now, there's two ways that I do this. I actually use my Andy's Pro shaver, but sometimes I'll use another shaver as well that has the little extended piece that comes out and take that line out. If you don't have that, then when you get to the top of that, you need to come in a circular motion. Don't just go straight up. Going straight up could create more lines. So when you come, circular motion, and that'll take care of that. So when you get to the top, circular motion, and that'll kind of help you blend it in. So we're going to go from the bottom. And once I get close to my parameter in the circular motion, there we go. Now what does it look like I have to do? Look at that. It seems like it's already faded. The only thing that we have to do is just take that line away and we're finished. That's control. Two things that I could do. I could go in here with my masters and take that line out because I have my masters zero gap. It would probably be a little bit difficult for you to get in there with a regular master zero gap to take that line out, unless you know something that I don't. But the fade blade zero gap, I can swing on that and take that out. But I like to do it with my trimmer. So I'm going to take my GTX blade and I'm just going to come in, making sure that I'm going up, but I'm coming out. When you're blending, movement is necessary. When you're cutting, it's control. It's not as much movement. So I'm going to come in here, and if you notice, you see how fast or short my movements are? Because I want to stay in this area. I don't want to move to any other area. So I'm going to come in here, really short. Really short. There we go. And as I said, you can always, now, with your fade actually completed, now you can get in here and say, you know what, this is maybe just a little bit of something that I don't like, or maybe I see something that I want to fix. And I do. So I'm just going to just put this zero bar on. So I'm here where in my one area, I see a little bit of weight that I don't like. Now the great thing about it was I was able to do that because I dissected the haircut. I dissected the haircut in a way that allowed me to know exactly what area that weight was in. If I didn't do that, not saying that you couldn't do it, it just might make it a little bit more difficult. And because I have this blade from a 0 actually to a 1 if I open it all the way up, I can work in my one area with this as well. I don't hear any hair cutting, which means there's no bulk there, and it's fine. I'm closing it all the way, see if I see it, hear anything, and there we go. Now for those of you, I'm going to actually put a razor line on it. Now, I don't use any enhancement on that. If you like enhancement, sometimes I use it. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're using it properly, you're not using it to, hide imperfections or things of that nature, or using it as a handicap. It's all up to personal choice. But what I'm going to use, I'm just going to spray a little bit of water. I love this bottle. I got this at where was this? I got this at a hair show, the ISSC hair show. I love it. Spray it one time. Look at that. Love that. $8. Let me say this. I got this bottle for $8 at the ISSE hair show in California. And someone told me the other day that they went to purchase this bottle somewhere in one of the beauty supply stores, and they tried to charge them $20 for this bottle. And I'm not saying that it's not worth $20. All I'm saying is that I purchased it for $8. If you do not go to hair shows, if you don't go to battles, I'm not saying that you have to, but maybe you want to change that up a little bit. You learn so much. I learned so much when I went to California. I learned that stylists are just hungry for knowledge in clipper cutting. I made some great connections out there. I met some wonderful people, but also things that you would normally pay for at a certain price are cheaper. I think Andy's came out with a new Masters, one in lime green and also a Ghostmaster. Generally, I think that clipper's a little over $100 at the hair show. Well, no, I think it's like 124 or something like that. At the hair show, it's like 99 bucks. The Super ZRs, normally it's a $300 clipper. Hair show was like $249 or something of that nature. So if you don't go to the hair shows, maybe you want to just make one. Maybe you want to make the hair battles because you can find a lot of great deals as well. So I'm going to come in. I've already placed a brand new blade into my razor holder. And I'm going to come in. And now the thing about putting a razor line on, you're not changing the line. The only thing that you're doing is just taking away the little hairs that are competing with your fade. That's it. If you have to come in and make a totally new line with your razor, it's not going to come out the way that you think it is, because when you're doing it, you're not actually looking at it. All you're doing is it's cleanup. It's to accentuate it. That's it. And I'm going to do something here on my curve that I tell everybody not to do. I tell all my students not to do it, but I'm going to do it. I've been doing this for years. I remember there was a barber years ago. I think maybe I was cutting for 10 years at that point, and he showed me something. Actually, that's a pretty good story. I was cutting hair for 10 years, and this barber, the owner of the shop, great barber, he tells me, I don't know if somebody complained about the haircut or what, but he came over to me and he asked me, hey, are you finished? Now, mind you, I had been cutting hair for 10 years, fairly good barber, clientele, but he told me, he says, are you finished? And I said, yes. He says, well, let me show you something. And I wasn't too sure about that because, you know, he's touching my clippers, and I was like, you know what, just close your mouth and open your ears and open your eyes and see what he does. So what he did was he actually took the razor and just cleaned up and finished the haircut, and I want to tell you that it changed me forever. It gave me a new look on what precision was. And I always tell that story because I've been cutting hair for 10 years. Now, mind you, if I had told him, like, listen, I don't need your help, I've been cutting hair for 10 years, I wouldn't have grown that day. So I tell everybody, no matter what, listen, learn, and grow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with my razor. Like I said, don't do this. But it makes a perfect curve. I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to bend my razor, and I'm just going to accentuate my curve right through. Okay? I can even use it. They make a razor holder for this particular action. I've tried it, it's pretty good, but it's a little bulky for me, so I prefer to hold the razor in hand. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to give him a little bit of a shear cut up top. I've already done the fade. All I got to do is just tie in this top. And that's it. So I'm going to use a little bit of water. That seems like a lot. Comb it through. And I do max hair two different ways. First, I come with my hands and cut it that way first, and then I'll use shear over comb. I have to give a big thanks to Shear Connections for my shears. He heard I was going online to do this tutorial, and he wanted to make sure that I had a great pair of shears. So if you have an opportunity, follow Shear Connections on IG. So here we go. We're going to come in. This hair's kind of short, so I'm going to come up. I'm just going to tie it in. So funny. When I was cutting with shears for years, I never really practiced steel blade. It wasn't until I started working at FadeFlix with Jesus. He saw me cut, and he told me, he says, "Keenan, you're gonna have to stop that." I'm like, "What are you talking about, man?" So you gotta practice your steel blade. So that's exactly what I did. I want to just give him a big shout out, and I want to thank him for helping me with that. Once again, you know, cutting hair for almost 25 years, somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I want you to do something different. I want to teach you something different." We can always learn. At the moment we stop learning, we cease to grow. Let me come over here a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. I'm not going to take much off his hair. It's a nice little cut in hair already. I think I'm going to wait till the end to actually put all the product in, but we're going to cut the other side. And that's pretty much it. Let's see if I can get this hair out of this space. And that is a great haircut method. Control from top to bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of time to have a word from our sponsors. Okay, so we're back. We're going to do, if you missed it from before, if you're just tuning in, what we're doing is what's called a great haircut method. And it's the control portion of it. There's 3 tiers to it. There's the control tier, there's the precision tier, and then there's the speed tier. So what we've done is we've done our control method on the left side of Matt's head, and we faded it going from top to bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to apply the same method, the same great haircut method, the same control method. We're going to apply it in the same way, but instead of going from top to bottom, we're going to go from bottom to top. I just want to show you the versatility of the method, so you'll be able to see that regardless of how you like to fade, that you can use it. So I'm going to come in here again with the 1.5. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of tell you what I did before and kind of give you a recap, and then we're going to do it. If you're just now tuning into FadeFlix, We came into here in our parietal ridge with a 1.5. Okay? Then, and we did that with our Andy Super ZR 1.5 blade. Now, if you use detachables, there is a blade that goes right underneath this blade called a 1A. And the 1A is right in between a number 1 and a 1.5. So virtually what we're doing is we're kind of doing a skip blade technique. So we skipped that blade and then we applied our 1 in this area right here. And then right below that we applied our OA, which is the equivalent in between a 000 and a 1. We applied that, then we applied a sub-level, we put a sub-level in, and then of course there was skin at the bottom. So what we're going to do first is we're going to come in and apply that 1.5 at our parietal ridge. The Andy Super ZR has 5 different speeds. Gives you about 14,000 revolutions per minute. Great clipper, I love it. So I'm going to come in here, right along the parietal ridge, and as I said before, if you're just tuning in, what you want to do is you want to make a section. We're doing 2 things. We're accomplishing 2 things. We're accomplishing a section, and we're also accomplishing a line. So you want to make sure that the section is clear, but you want to make sure that your line is straight. Even if you're dropping it down, if you're going to drop the line down here, then you need to do the same thing on the other side. Okay? So there's our section. A little bit of hair right there in our section still. Okay? So that is our 1.5. Now we're going to come with our number 1. Sorry, that's our number 1. And right below that section, we're going to make another section, but we're also going to leave a line. So, set it up the same way that we set it up. Now, ordinarily, you would do the setup going all the way around. But this is an effort to show you the difference between both sides. So we're going to clear out the section, but we're also going to keep our line straight. Go all the way around to what's left. And now what we're going to do is we're going to drop that OA right below that. Right below that. And you notice how small I made that section. You want to take note to how many blades that you have to actually put on the area. So if you need to put, just for sake of argument, 6 blades in this area, then those sections would have to be smaller and the lines would have to be smaller. But because we're only putting virtually 3 of these blades on, then they don't have to be. But right now I'm putting my OA here because I know everything underneath that's going to be a 0. So if I put this OA down too low, then my 0 is not going to be in the same place as it was on the other side. So we're going to come in. There we go. Now we're going to drop in what I call a sub-level. And the reason for the sub-level, if you didn't hear me before, is to make sure that there isn't a big differential between us skinning this haircut out and us transitioning it into the rest of the haircut. Generally, as we were talking about before, when you make your 0 line here, when you take your trimmer and you shave all this off, some people say, how do I get that line out? What do I do to get that line out? Well, the perfect thing is not to make the line at all. But what makes it easier is if you drop in what I call a sub-level right on top of that to make it easier to transition in. So we're going to take, I'm going to take my Andes Master. And as I said before, I prefer the Andes Fade Master blade It's a smaller blade, it's zero gapped, it gets a lot closer, it makes that transition a lot easier. Not saying that you can't use your anti-smasher, you could, but you have to make sure that it's zero gap for this to be, for you to be able to work this system. So I'm going to come right above and just drop in right above it. I'm in the same section I was in before, but I'm kind of like splitting that section in half. And I'm going to drop in this subsection right above it. It makes it so simple. If anybody's watching, if you have any questions, you can definitely phrase those questions to us. Or you can DM us as well, and then we'll see if we can get those questions answered for you. All right, so I've dropped in my subsection. Okay? And now the haircut is set up. When you set this haircut up, you really start to see it take shape and take form. Because now all you have to do is virtually just take the lines out. By setting this haircut up, it gives us control of each area. What we're going to do is we're going to come here now and we're going to fade from bottom to top. But we're going to work in this area, and we're not going to leave this area, our zero area or our bald area, until it's clear. Once it's clear, then we'll move on. That's the great thing about the lines, is the lines are giving you a parameters to kind of only focus on one section at a time, instead of trying to focus on the whole haircut. When you have to do that, sometimes it gets confusing. So virtually what we've done is separate it into maybe 3 or 4 little different mini haircuts. This is one haircut here, we're going to fade this, that's our first phase done. Then our second fade, then our third fade, and then our fourth fade. So that's a little bit more to kind of take on when you're just learning. When you're just learning, it gives you an opportunity to, like I said, have control. And with that control comes confidence, which is important. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my Andes GTX, and I'm going to take all of this off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to once again leave myself a little section so that I can have a differential between the shaver and the edger. Now I told you that I would show you on this side something a little bit different, which I will. You can virtually go in here. I'm going to do the shaver portion in the back. But I'm going to show you right here where I don't really need to have this. With enough experience you can do this. But I don't really have to make that line. I can literally come in here and just take this off. Now the great thing about it is that line that's there right above it is letting me know, don't come near me. So I swing out long before I get to it, and now look what I've done. I've taken that whole section and blended that section in without having to make the line. But it's all about a comfort level too. If you're not confident enough to do it at that point, then it's fine. Leave the line and then just come back and take the line out once you have cleared the previous section. So I'm going to go ahead and take all this off. Now as you see, I'm going to take this off. Okay? We're going to leave that there as if we're leaving our section. And that's one thing about this method, about this a great haircut method, this control method, is it looks kind of awkward. You're not used to seeing somebody putting lines in a haircut. You know, I've had plenty of people when I started the haircut, they thought, does he really know what he's doing? But it wasn't about that. It was about developing something that would help those who need and give them the ability to have control and confidence. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in once again with my Remington shave powder. It's going to help me with my shaver so that I don't abrade the skin too much when I'm using the shaver. Sometimes you have people that have really sensitive skin, and some can't use the shaver, and some can, but it still kind of irritates them a little bit. So what this shave powder does is it kind of gives them the a protection before you use the shaver. So I'm going to come in. Once I get to the top portion, I'm going to go on a circle. And then, what you guys want to make sure that you do, we're going to have a giveaway at the end of the show. So make sure that you tune in. We're going to be giving away the Andy Slimline Pros. So make sure that you tune in so that you can find out how you can win those Andy Slimline Pros. Okay. So now what we're going to do is once I get to the top, you see I'm going in a circular motion, and that's so that I don't make a new line. When you're going straight up, you have the ability that you may be able to do that. So if you go in a circular motion, and sometimes even in a sideways motion, you prevent that from happening. Okay. Now when I mean about your level being clear, I mean your full level being clear. When you look all the way down by the nape, underneath the occipital, to make sure that there's no hair there. This doesn't exist to us. This other area doesn't exist to us. It's only this area. And once this area is clear, then we know, and only then, that we can move to our next level. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to come in now, back to the GTX, and of course I got to take off this portion that I left as an example, and just come in here and just take it off. If you notice the movements that I'm making, very quick movements, in really quick, out really quick. Okay? When you're blending, you need to have movement. If you're blending like this, all you're doing is making more lines in your haircut. Blending, you must have movement. You must have movement. And there we go. Now sometimes you might tell yourself, man, you know what? I'm not 100% sure what's the next clipper to use on this line. So then you have to just recall what you did. Recall that this is your 1.5 level, this is your 1 level, this is your half level, and you dropped in a sub level I dropped it in with my Andes Masters. You're going to drop however you dropped your sub level, and now you were back on track. Okay, so I dropped in my sub level with it closed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it up a little bit and just take away a little bit of that line. By the time I have it open, that little sub-level line should be gone. Now there's 2 ways that I could do this. I'm going to show you something a little bit different over here because we're going up. 2 ways I could do this. I could be cautious and put my 0 on and swing into that, knowing that the 0 is not going to take it all off. But we're going to forgo that. We're going to forgo this right now. And I'm literally going to swing into this area with this clipper right here. Now I have it about halfway. I'm going to open it just a little bit more. If you see on the side of the Andes Masters, it has 5 little notches. Right now I'm on the 3rd notch. I'm going to drop it down to the 4th one. Okay, you see that? You see how I still have 1 more notch at the back of it? I'm going to drop it down to the 4th one, and I'm going to come in here into this section. I'm in the next section already. Because I know that this clipper all the way open is equivalent to this 0 closed. I could have done both. This is why it's important to know your tools. It's important to know what your tools can do so that you know that there's when to use them, but also that there's more than one way that you can do it. You don't have to have an absolute every single time. So right now, I'm on my 4th notch, and I'm just going to come in here and just take maybe half of that out. Half of that. Making sure that I'm keeping my clipper flat, not dug in to his skin. But that's one thing that we know about the master blade. If you're not careful, you'll pull one of those little pores. You got to be really careful about how you swing it. So I've done that, and now I'm just going to open it fully. And just come in here and just take this entire line away. Now mind you, I'm swinging into my one area right now. If you did not have the ability to do that, if don't have the confidence that you think that you should have at that moment to do this, then just go ahead and put that 0 on. Err on the side of caution. But I'm going to go ahead and swing right up into my 1 because this blade all the way open is close to it anyway. There we go. Now what I will do is, because we're going up, I'm going to go ahead and take my 0 and come into this area. I could put my 1 in there because this is my 1 area. Okay? Actually, no, let's do that. Let's keep it simple. We're going to take our 1, close it up. Let's swing on that line. I started to put a step in there that was a little bit more, that was difficult when it didn't need to be. There we go. And the reason why I did that is because I know my tools. I know what they're going to do. And I knew that it was going to leave a little faintness, a little faint weight in it. I knew it was going to do that. But I wanted to show it to you first. Okay, so now that you see it, I never placed the 0 on the head at all. So I'm going to come back and just take care of that area with my 0. Why was I able to do that? Because I knew what was on the top of it and I knew what was on the bottom of it. If you're ever wondering what blade do I use, just ask yourself, well, what area do I have on the top and what area do I have immediately on the bottom? Not all the way to the bottom, but immediately. So I know that this is my 1.5 area. I know that this is my 1 area, so that's the area, and immediately below it is my half area. I can't talk enough and speak enough about a great haircut method and the tiers, the control, the precision, and the speed. Because what it does is it gives you success in cutting hair. I wish I had the ability to have callers call you and tell you, hey, listen, it worked for me. But stay tuned. We're going to put together some testimonials of those that the haircut method worked for. And that way you'll also, if you're a little skeptical, you know that it can work for you as well. So now I'm going to come in here with my 2, because this is my 1.5 area, so immediately I know exactly what to go to, because what's above a 1.5? The 2. I'm right in here with this 2. It's going to leave a little bit of weight, but I'm going to take that weight out. And once again, I have the luxury, because this is going to be a fro hog, that I can actually come in at an angle and take all that hair off, because I don't want that hair there anyway. I just want this portion right here. But if you were doing a different style of haircut, then you would want to come in and come out. You don't want to come in too far and cut too much of it off. Okay, I'm going to take that 2 off. We've exhausted possibilities with that. Now I'm going to take our flat top, our comb, and then just come in, and you're going to see it. When you come in, you're going to come in at an angle, and you're just going to see those little hairs that are there. Actually, you know what? Let me switch to a white comb so you can see a little bit better. See that? That's what you're taking off. Look at that. That's what you're taking off. Just making sure that whatever little things that are competing with my blend being complete, that I'm taking it off. I'm going to show you something as well, because I was talking earlier about how when you have a certain tool in your hand, utilize that tool to the point you can't use it anymore. So I can still use this tool. I don't want to put it down. I mean, I'm now at the top. I'm going to cut a little bit in the top, but it's already in my hand, so why not use it? So I'm actually going to come in here and just kind of form my throw hop all the way up to the point where the shear is going to take over. Look at that. Right here, coming out just a little bit, using my masters, clipper over comb, and taking all that off. Okay. Now when I get into my shear area, all I have to do is just worry about cutting this portion right here. And also, we're going to take our same tool, same master, we're going to come in here and just soften that front line a little bit so I can get those long hairs out the way when I get ready to line. What you want to do as well, I don't know if you can see me or not, but I'm kind of stepping behind. Okay, let me turn around this way. You want to step behind or in front, but for this portion I'm going to step behind because I want to be able to see the angles. I have an angle coming this way, but here I just have just a little bit of weight. So I'm going to come over there, cut, and step back, and look. Cut, step back, and look. It's not a rush. It's not a hurry. What you want to be able to do is provide the best possible haircut that you can. And if you are not using your different angles to ascertain what you're doing, then what you're doing is you're kind of handicapping yourself a little bit. All right, so now that's straight. Now what we're going to do is come in with our trimmer, our edger, and I'm going to edge the front. Okay? Okay. Remember, tipping up. The outside blade, you're going to tip up. If I take that blade and I go straight here, then in the front, my edge is going to tip up. It's going to drop off. So I'm going to tip off. I'm going to tip up, but I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to turn him just a little bit because I want to see. I can turn his head, make sure the angle is the way that I want it to be, turn it back. And now, making sure that when I do edge here, that I edge back. Okay? Inside blade is back. If I take the outside blade or the bottom blade and I push it in, now when I make, it seems like, man, all I have to do is just come in here and just make a straight line just like that. Oh my God, that's just going to be great. But when you turn to the front, his tape is going to be awkward. It's going to be pushed out. So you want to make sure that that top blade is in. They should be offset. They should not be level. Okay. Once again, turn him to make sure that that's what I want. Yes. I'm going to set back. And now I'm making my sideline. It's all checks and balances. What you don't want to do is you don't want to just keep going and keep going and keep going. And then once you get towards the end, you're like, oh my God, the tape's crooked. There's nothing right. And now you're trying to worry how you're going to fix it. The haircut is a series of different areas, different modes. There's so many things that you need to check. It's not just one. It would be so nice if you could just take this clipper and just all at once and just cut it. But that's not how it works. So because you can't cut the hair like that, you need to work portion by portion, which is what makes the control method of the Great Haircut Method series really great. Now once again, the great thing about this method is you can take a step back and say, okay, well, how does that look to me? And as I'm looking, I see a few things that I might want to just check and see if I can remove a little bit of weight. And the reason why that's easy for me to do is because of the sectioning. I know what area that I'm working in. I know that this is my 1.5 area, and right below the 1.5 area, I see a little dark spot that I want to take care of. So I'm going to take my 1, and I'm just going to go in there and see if I hear something. Maybe I miss something. Okay? Over here in the 1 area, same thing. Come in here with my my 0 in my half area and just check it. Sometimes I do this just to check and make sure. You never know. There might be a couple of hairs that are there that are competing with your haircut. And then I take it off and I just come in this area and see if there's anything. That's part of the finish. That's what makes the haircut pop. And there we have it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the other portion of Matt's hair, the other side. And I really want to cut, just make sure both of them are the same, because I only did a little bit over here. Spray a little bit of water there. Come here with my shear and my comb. Once again, thanks to Shear Connections for my shears. It really helps me out big time. So I'm going to come in here and just, you see how much I have to work with now? I don't have much to deal with. I just have this little small portion. You see the short portion, and then you see the connecting portion right here. So I just come right in and just take that off. Me utilizing the master to remove the bulk from the side helped me to complete this a lot faster. We all know, don't cut past your knuckle. We're going to do it anyway, right? We cut ourselves and then we don't do it again, and then we do it again like a few months down the line when we're in a hurry. Get this hair out of my space. I prefer to use a towel to get the hair out. Guys, make sure that you stay tuned in. Find out how you can win that Slimline Pro, that Andy Slimline Pro. And make sure that you tell other barbers, other students, other cosmetologists to subscribe to FadeFlix. I'm so happy that I received a phone call to be a part of this project. It's something that you could see early on that it was going to be something that was going to really, really grow. The passion of the FadeFlix crew and how much time and effort that they put into it to make sure that this is something that we've virtually never seen before. One thing that I'm really big on is respect, honor, and loyalty. And when you see somebody that has a great idea, don't look for the fault in it. Embrace it and help. This is an excellent idea, man. I'm so happy to be a part of it and to actually be on here for probably the next 3 or 4 shows, that I'm going to actually show you every single tier of the great haircut method, and then also a finish method. So now that I've done that, I'm going to come in with my razor. I already put my razor in already. Notice I have a different razor hold at this particular moment. And what you're going to do is, as I said before, you're just going to come in, and all you're trying to do is just take away the hair that is on the outside of your tape. You've already made your tape with your clipper. Here's another thing too. Don't worry about, if you know that you're going to use a razor, don't worry so much about sitting there making it razor sharp with the clippers or with the trimmers, because you're going to make it razor sharp with your razor. All you're doing is spending a lot of time beating up the client's head when those clippers start to get hot. What I'm going to do at the end, at the top of Matt's hair at the end, is I'm actually going to put a little product in his hair. I like to do a wet cut, and then I also like to do a product cut. That way I can style his hair and see if there's anything that is hanging out that I need to take care of. So we're going to apply a little bit of water. In this particular go around, I'm going to go ahead and use our El Patron black gel. And say your products are your personal preference. I like this one because it has a semi-permanent tint. So it actually kind of darkens the hair and even darkens the hairline. If you want to put like maybe a temporary beiging or a temporary topic look to your hairline, you could actually use your black gel to do that, and it'll darken up that hairline. And when you apply that razor to it, it'll give you the same effect. This is semi-permanent, so this will actually last about maybe 4 or 5 washes. And you see the hole that it's giving you as well. Look at that. Now I've applied product to his hair, and I'll just come back with my comb and my shear and just make sure that there's nothing that's hanging out that I need to take off. So I'm just going to come through here. I'm going to come through here and just kind of let me come to this side. In here. Just make sure there is nothing that is hanging out. There's nothing on the hairline. Pulling this back, get that little dragon ear off. There we go. And there we have it. That's a great haircut method. Our control method. We'll get it in. I want you guys to make sure that you tune in next week. What we're going to have is we're going to do our second portion of our great haircut method, which is our precision method. It's going to be a different setup, and it's going to kind of give you a different type of fade. But make sure that you stay tuned in, because right now, at the close of the show, we're going to be giving away an Andy Slimline Pro, and you want to stay tuned and find out how you can do that. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your time. Thank you to FadeFlix, and we'll see you guys next week.
Mike's back on.
Okay, so how are we doing? What we're going to do is we're going to actually give the instructions for our giveaway. I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to do so, and we'll hand that out next week. I think we might have been a little unclear. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to follow Celebrity Barbershop. We want to thank Celebrity Barbershop for donating the actual Slimline Pro. So make sure you go on and you follow Celebrity Barbershop. And then also you're going to hashtag FadeFlix. You want to make sure that you screenshot it as well. Post that screenshot on IG. And make sure you hashtag FadeFlix, but also make sure you hashtag Celebrity Barbershop Giveaway. And then that's it. Share this many times as you possibly can. And make sure that you subscribe to FadeFlix. This is an excellent opportunity that they've given me, but it's going to be something that's going to be so big. So let's get in, let's support, and then what we'll do is we'll pick the winner of that Slimline Pro next week. Make sure, like I said, go to Instagram, follow Celebrity Barbershop, West Palm Beach, screenshot it, post the screenshot on IG, and make sure you follow Celebrity Barbershop Giveaway. Make sure that you follow FadeFlix, and also make sure you hashtag a great haircut method while you're at it. Okay? So you guys have a great evening, and I'll definitely see you next week. If you have any questions about anything, just send me a direct message, and we'll see you. Thanks, guys, for everything.
Can't put the stream just yet because we gotta let it all come in.
Turn the mic off.